we're back in the studio to find out why there's a difference between what the women want and what the men want in a relationship. Is there a middle ground here? Let's find out from Abigail, Emanuela, and Peter. Welcome again on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you said, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
that you found out that sometimes what the women want, or the ladies you've dated in the past, does not align with what you want or what you want to see in a relationship. Am I correct?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, do you want to explain that so that the girls can hear?
I think it's very much just down to do with like each other's expectations, really, and like even like with the values that you want to kind of carry on moving forward, opposing ideas, even when it comes to like responsibilities within the home, or even just like, you know, minor things like expectations with like communication with each other day to day. Yeah, so I think there's a lot to put in the mix, really, but yeah, that's what I'd say.
And you do major on the traditional aspect of it as well.
Yeah, sure, 100%. Yeah, I like a woman that I like. You know, the gender roles. I like I think I said earlier that my expectation is I like someone that's happy to kind of take on responsibilities within a kitchen. Obviously a bit controversial, but it's just an expectation I have.
You see it quite different.
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes?
I do agree with gender roles, but at the same time, I do think that like for example, a lot of men are expected to handle the finances in the home. But what if the man is not great financially, but the woman is? So I would like to think that if that's the case, the woman should handle the finances in the home rather than the man, if he's going to take the family down for a downturn financially. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, yeah, fair enough. I think very much things should be ironed out like quite early on. So like, I mean, quite early on, probably even like first conversations that we have, I'll drop it in as, you know, oh, this is kind of my standpoint. See reactions and see if it's down. If it's like, if she's receptive of it, no worries, we'll move on. If not, it's something that I'm not going to really settle on. So I think if setting that expectation, if we've not had that expectation, I can understand that, okay, maybe someone will have to offset at some point. But if we've already had that kind of mutual understanding from day one, then I don't think there's any refactoring. So I think it's very subjective to like situation, but once you kind of clear each other's expectations from kind of early on, I don't think there'll be like an example of, oh, something happened and so we have to kind of re-strategize. Yeah.
Did you find that have you found that the ladies are more driven than the men, career oriented, they're strategic in what they want to see, more goal oriented? Is that something
more than a man?
Well, I don't know, it's subjective.
I've met quite very ambitious women, and I think it's something I'm very much attracted to. Okay. I personally, maybe because of situations, but I'm more driven to very independent individuals, very like kind of driven where you sort of kind of set yourself up and you're good to go. You're doing well career wise. You're good. Like you're building yourself up. You have good ambition, because I think I'm kind of the same. So we sort of have to align in that part. I don't think I could deal with someone that was kind of very laid back and not driven in that sense, because I feel like it would be a clash against how I am. So I've seen it quite often. I think it's something that I very much am attracted to. Yeah, and I mean, I personally like it. I think it's quite motivating, and if anything, like, yeah, I think it's very motivating. I think it's something I'm very attracted to.
Let's we agree on that.
Yeah.
I would agree on
Yeah,
that.
I can understand. Like, I mean, I've had discussions with our friends where, obviously, in this day and age, like, women are sometimes women do very well where they can be making more money than guys are. It's very clear women are in business, they're in very good positions within companies. So I can see, to an extent, especially with even like beliefs that I kind of have, where a man may feel like, how am I sort of supposed to kind of keep up with someone that, well, you just keep pushing really to do better for yourself. And I don't think it shouldn't be a competition. At the end of the day, like, you should be happy with each other doing well, because the main goal should be that the family's kind of set in a way that is, envisioned with what you both want for yourselves. It's not sort of a competition of, oh, you're doing better than me and whatnot. But yeah.
I think I like what Peter said before about setting the expectations from the beginning, because I think that's so good to hear from a man saying that from the beginning. He will make it clear what it is that, he likes from a relationship or from a woman. Whereas, correct if I'm wrong, Emanuela, sometimes men aren't honest initially. They'll lead you thinking that, oh no, it's okay, we'll do this, whatever. And then later on down the line, they're now telling you, oh, I expect you to cook, I expect you to do this, but you've not stated that from the beginning.
Yeah.
If a woman wants to go along with that, she will go along. If she doesn't, then that's fine. You part ways and you move on to someone else. So I think it's so good to hear from Peter that, he sets his expectations so clear from the beginning. And it'll be interesting to hear, like, I guess in general from women, how they feel when men do set those expectations from the beginning and how they receive that as well, if there's something they don't like too. Just really pleased to hear that.
Let's bear it in mind that those things are not cast in stone.
Yeah.
Circumstances do change.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I was talking to a couple yesterday, and they were saying for them it's more of a partnership.
No, of course.
It's more of a partnership. That one of the ladies said her husband tends to just take on tasks that needs done, and is more or less thinking of his wife, that in order to make her life easy, and that is what motivates him, and what makes her happy. If it makes her happy to come back from home, she's stressed out, and it makes her happy for somebody else to take over and look after the kids. And if he has enough energy to do the cooking, he might just add that to it, or order something out, order a takeout. So it's not mandatory that, okay, this is your rule, you have to stick with
No,
it.
of course.
That's true,
Of course.
It's about being flexible,
No,
Yeah.
100%.
depending on
Definitely.
circumstances.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. So that bears to mind that when we are setting these goals and the men are saying this is what they do, perhaps it might not be because they're dishonest. Maybe it is what they appear to see at that point in time. That's what made them say it. And along the line, things change. And they find themselves, okay, this is what I think what should happen now. But I think communication is quite key.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way through.
100%.
Yeah.
As long as we're talking, isn't it? And we are letting each other know that this is what's on my mind, and we are not thinking that, okay, you should assume, you should read my mind and try to understand that this is why I'm saying this and this is how I'm thinking. We are letting each other, we are being, I'm trying to find the right words. We are being vulnerable to one another. We are honest. We can share our concerns. We can share our fears.
Yeah.
If this is what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
And we are not keeping it to ourselves, and then suddenly you are in the marriage and that comes up. But do you think that it might be because that if you are being vulnerable from the onset and you are telling each other the way things, it might scare the other person off?
There is that side to it. That is a reality too, because everybody has things from their past or things that they've experienced they may not want to share that can scare someone away. But I think it's also about using discernment to know when to say what things, because it's not everybody that you date that you have to tell them your whole life from the get-go as well. So it's about knowing when to speak about certain things as well. General things like, I don't know, like family, whatever. People are different. Some people hold family quite close to their heart and they're not willing to share anything about that. Whereas some people, they can talk about their whole life and not even blink an eye. So I think it's about the person themselves. But I think in general, each person should have discernment when to know to be open. Because otherwise, you're just allowing yourself to repeat the cycle of being open to every single person that you date. Let's say in a year, for example, I don't know, you date one person, like 4 people in a year, for example. That literally you've given yourself to 4 different people that you're not going to get that back, really.
So at what point in a relationship do you talk about things that are pressing on your mind, your concerns? Do you make yourself vulnerable? Do you share your concerns? Somebody said, I remember there was a couple I interviewed on Forever Never show, and they said that before they got married, they locked themselves in a room and told each other about everything about themselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Wow. Because at the end, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so they know what they are getting. Mm-hmm. So it's either you choose me, this is me, faults and all. Are you ready to accept it? To accept it, to accept me the way that I am. Do you think, granted they are in my generation, do you think that can work in your generation?
Do you want to go?
No, you can go.
I think so. Maybe not from the very beginning.
Okay.
But I think most people at some point will feel comfortable to be like, okay, I'm just laying it all bare. But I think also what will make someone hesitant is if I lay it all bare, even if it's let's say we've been in a relationship for a year and we're now doing this looking each other in a room and talking about everything. If there's some things I say that for the other person that I can't go on with this, then the relationship ends or it changes. I think that will be a fear of people. So for example, if someone comes out to say that, oh, this happened in my family, then they might be like, I'm not too comfortable with that, or I don't know if I'd want our children around that person, or there's just so many other layers. So I think it's just the fear of what could happen if I say everything in that one time. So I don't think maybe, well, at one time for me personally, maybe small increments. So maybe start with small, and then I might see how you react to that. Then as time goes on, I might feel a bit more comfortable and then share more of the bigger stuff. But I think all at one time, I think that's really overwhelming. I think if someone was to do that to me, I think I'll freeze for a bit. If I was to hear something that was like, whoa, I'm like, I can't really give you an answer right now. I have to can't think about it. But then that could throw them off because they're thinking, I've just given this piece of information and you're just telling me you want to think about it. So I think small increments is the best.
But don't you think, what do you think it's kind of better to know where someone stands with like certain things kind of earlier on so you can almost get on with it? And because I mean, surely if someone is opposed to, I don't know, maybe like your family dynamics or just something from your past and it's something, or a characteristic about yourself and they don't align with it, wouldn't you prefer that they kind of know and you see that choice that they've made at that point in time, as opposed to you're laying like layers of yourself to someone over time, and it gets to one point and it's like, oh, this crucial bit of information, and then they're like, oh yeah, this is a deal breaker, like I can't deal with that.
That is also a good point. I guess in these things you can never like tell which way things are gonna go. But I would say that with, for example, you mentioned family dynamics, I think that's something that is quite clear from the beginning, from when you're talking to me, who I might refer to. Like if my parents are divorced and I'm always referring to my mum, you probably get the point that, okay, my dad is not in the picture. And then if you now ask questions like, oh, I realize you speak about your mum a lot, how come you don't speak about your dad? Then that's the opening for another conversation. But then going deeper into family, I think like when maybe it includes extended family, I think that can come over time. If it's something like, I know you're going to come to a family gathering, for example, and there's maybe going to be a particular member of the family there, and there's something I feel like, and maybe you should know because you're going to go meet them anyways, then maybe. But I think it's just circumstances. But I don't think I'll just say all in one go. It will, all in one go.
First.
What do you think, Abigail?
Yeah, I wouldn't say all in one go too. I think there's also the element of the longer you take to get to know somebody, the more they're willing to accept the bad about you, if I could put it like that. So I'm not saying that you're not lying or you're not admitting the truth or anything like that, but it's more so, okay, like you said, in increments. But as the relationship starts to develop, you know, when you start to share more about yourself, they're not going to see it as you as a stranger anymore. Like, this is some random information about you. They'll see you as a person. And maybe if it is something to do with you specifically, like that you've done, they may be able to now detach what you've done from your character, if that makes sense. Because sometimes people do stuff, it's not actually them as a person, like that's just something from their past. So I think there are some things that would be important to share from the get-go, potentially. Like, I think family dynamics is quite important, but some things that are more closer to people's heart, like I don't think you can just expect somebody to lay it all out on the ground, because what if the person takes that information and just dashes it or doesn't respect it? So it's a difficult one, really, to know when to talk about, to share some things. It's difficult.
So that wouldn't be classified as keeping secrets.
I think it depends on what it is. I don't know.
I think it's quite strategic, to be honest. But well, yeah,
but we have to be in life. We are strategic, as I think you have to be, in a sense.
Yeah, I think so. We've got to be calculated sometimes.
Yeah,
I do think it would be lovely to just be free for all in a relationship, but unfortunately it's just not like that, because you will never know what the other person's doing when you're not there. And I don't mean it in a way like, oh, cheating and stuff like that. I mean it in a way like, are they dating other people, for example, and had they not been honest about that, or do they actually genuinely like me? Because someone can say one thing but be doing something else. So until you know the person's true intentions, and that's why the character matters, because someone could be saying something but their behavior says completely different. And okay, yes, you're on the phone to me, you know, every day, every night, but when did we last go on a date? When did you last buy me something? And vice versa. I'm not just talking about men towards women. I'm talking about women towards men as well. It's about the actions matching with the words as well, and really, you know, seeing the fruition of that person's character come to life.
So that brings us to the question again. How do I know this is the person for me?
oh, yeah, it's a good question.
It's a big question. Yeah.
But I love what you said last time about being able to be fully yourself. Because I think that is a huge part. Like, this is going to be your life partner. I think if you can't be yourself around them, then like, who else? But I think we've mentioned it already, it's character. I think in how they go about life, how they handle situations. For me, I'm big on how people treat others that is seen as less than them. So, for example, if we're in a restaurant, how do you treat people who are the help? So the waiters, the waitresses, the chef or whoever. Or if you're someone who will just leave something on the floor, like, oh, the cleaner will get it. Like that kind of mindset. Or how you treat my friends, my family, how you treat the opposite sex. There's some men I found that can't have platonic relationships with women, and I have come across someone like that before, and that to me is a red flag, because if you find it hard to be platonic with women, then it makes me think, well, how do you view women, and then how do you view me? And following on from that, I think your boundaries, the things you stand for, like what Abigail was saying, like if you're saying one thing and doing another, and that's not even just like to me, but just with other people, and I'm seeing that, I'm gonna start questioning I'm gonna start questioning your behavior and other things when it comes to me as well. So I think when all in all, it's a journey. I think you enter things with faith, really.
Yeah, it
and
is.
You just don't really know what's gonna happen, and you just keep on going. And I remember there's a couple at my friend's church, and I must have asked him, because he always says he married well. I was like, how do you know you married well? And he was just like, he didn't know till 10 years in. Because of everything that has happened. He said that you're not going to know if you've married well after a while, because in the beginning, yeah, it'd be cool, but he was just like, what if you get married to this guy and then 5 years time he becomes a Muslim?
Interesting.
Like, because people do change, or someone loses a parent and they change completely. You see a different side to them. All these things do shape people, and you just don't know how. So he was like, I've known I've married well because of the time we've been together, and I've seen how she's changed and developed, and how I've changed about us doing it together and with our children. I just thought, wow, never really thought about that. Because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'll marry well, and I'll know. But then, will I? But we'll all marry well in Jesus' name.
Amen.
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 Amen. So in other words, when we are thinking about who to marry, we looked at the qualities, it aligns well. We are saving. That reminds me, you never mentioned anything about saving for a house.
Oh yeah, it will
that
come.
will come.
It will come. Like, you know, well, I see money as money is money. Money will always come and go. You know, there might be a situation that will completely wipe you out today, but as long as you've got the drive to sort of push forward, or obviously with family, you have to be able to plan and make sure that you're able to keep a stable home and a progressive home where you're able to give continuously and be able to provide efficiently. Savings is important, but I don't know. There's no but to it. Savings is very important. I think I just like spending money, but you know, save money, guys. Save money.
That's great.
And invest.
And invest. So that means you're quite savvy. If your intended is not that sharp, savings oriented, I must admit I'm not saving oriented. I'm the spender in the family. So we know where that serves, and that can cause conflict. It could be a deep source of conflict when you have the spender and you have the saver.
Yeah.
And I think it's the being able to manage that comes into it. Being able to manage that well. So finally, where does God come into this in choosing a life partner?
From the single stage, I think even before you get to knowing people, you have to know what it is that God wants for you, because ultimately you come together with somebody to achieve a purpose. So that person has to be in line with what your goals are for yourself. Like if you want to have a business, for example, but a man maybe doesn't want their woman to have a business, they want her to be a homemaker or whatever, that's not something that's going to really align with you. So I think knowing what God wants for you, even while you're single, and then when you do start dating, involving him in the process as well, like genuinely praying about it, and God will reveal himself to you in different ways, in ways that you don't even imagine. It's funny because in our generation, people we say we ask this prayer, if they're not meant for me, or show what's the
Like, they're not for me, remove them or something.
yeah,
like that.
remove them, and it's like before you know it, the person has showed themselves, or God has removed them in one way or another. So I think it's just keeping that open communication with God to say, you know, I'm going into this, reveal to me what it is that this is for, because some dating experiences are just an experience as well. You learn from them
100.
too, so they're not all bad.
Yeah.
And I think asking God to prepare you for your life partner, because we all have things that have come from our childhood, which weren't our fault, but it's things that have happened, and you have to unlearn certain things or learn certain things, because if not, you join with someone and there's just constant headbutting or disagreements, whereas these things could have, you know, like not happened because you've taken a chance outside of each other to heal, to grow, to come closer to God. And I think just really knowing the voice of God, because people will come. I feel like the enemy knows hears your prayers too. So if he knows that, oh, like Emmanuel is single, I know that she's interested in XYZ, let me bring XYZ her way. But this person's actually a form of distraction. And if I'm not like open to hearing the voice of God, where he's trying to tell me this person, distraction, yes, they fit everything you want and it seems amazing, then I could end up going down a trajectory that wasn't meant for. So I think knowing the voice of God, and I think the closer obviously you get to the closer you get to him, the more you know his voice, and you're able to separate your thoughts from his, and as well as the enemy's, because the enemy, he loves to talk as well. So that would be my contribution.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I agree majorly. No, I agree with everything. I think it's important to, like Emanuela said, I think from even you just being a single individual, I think it's important to have that good relationship with God and know that, okay, if you want to embark on that journey, that you in yourself, you're good for whoever you're trying to look for, because by the time you now join together, there has to be a level of alignment where you sort of become one. And without that unity, especially within, God, it's already like a mismatch. So it could be a disaster waiting to happen. But I think definitely involving God from day one, just being single, just being able to be a good and better version of yourself, where you're able to be at good capacity for your life partner, really. But within that as well, I think like having good counsel as well, like around you. So even like dating, like having like people that, whether it's like a young couple or just a family that you kind of look up to, where you might have issues and they'll kind of keep you grounded and be able to guide you through the issues and sort of be a middle ground where it's not favored on one side, but it's very much of like you need to make sure you're in one page, one line, and it's always sort of one forward vision, as opposed to, you want to do this, but you can't like resolve an issue because you just don't want to see the same path. I think that's a really important thing. Yeah.
Thank you. I know we are agreed on two things, I think. We are agreed on involving God from the onset. We are agreed on seeking guidance. Not thinking that we know it all.
No.
Yeah.
We can depend on our knowledge and ourselves, but we are receiving guidance. We are talking to God about issues as we go along. We are asking Him to open our eyes to see what we need to see. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Quite
You're
appreciate you
welcome.
coming again.
Thank you.
And and I'm sure a lot of people would on hearing this, would be enlightened further and being able to do what is necessary in their relationship, or to know what to look out for when the man or the woman is within their reach.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hannah, Dakwa said that the dating world is quite something else out there. You see all sorts.
Wow.
Where are you dating?
Wow. What do you mean?
Where do you find your women?
In England, isn't it?
Yeah, where? How do you find them? Because I'm sure how you find them will show the kind of women they are, no?
Oh, these are not personal experiences.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. This is just what I hear.
Oh, okay.
So, dating sites, friend of a friend, parties, going out. That's multiple places that people find.
Interesting.
You don't agree?
Don't get me wrong, women can be interesting and so can men, but I think most of my issues from experiences have always been the men.
Oh, what?
I know a lot of good women, but I don't know as many good men.
Are
Don't
we,
get me wrong, I know
fighting for
some.
our gender here? That's what it sounds
No,
like.
I know so many good men, but the amount of good women I know ready to marry and are like ready to settle down, they have everything in line. But where are the men? They're unserious. But they have their pick of women, so they're allowed to be unserious. Whereas we're not allowed because we don't have as many options.
Okay. Not going to deny that one. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to
So
fight.
why is that? You are not denying it. Why is that?
Why is there not a lot of viable men?
I'm asking, why are men like that?
I feel like men take a little bit longer to mature. I'll put it like
Okay,
that.
I'll accept
I'll
that.
put it like that. And yeah, most people agree with that. Like women mature a lot quicker than guys, and maybe that's because there is a biological clock. I think that's probably a lot to do with it. So the men don't have that clock, and when you don't have that clock, you can just be a little bit more unserious for a lot longer.
True.
That's what I'll put it down to.
So then the men can't be complaining that It's crazy out there.
If they're part of the craziness.
Yeah,
yeah.
it seems to be they're part of the craziness.
Yeah, okay.
They're probably architect of the craziness
Yeah,
at times.
fine.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. So what does it take for a man to mature?
I think it's just themselves. I don't think there's anything that will be a switch that will turn them on or off. I just think it comes from inside, just maturing yourself. That's
Okay.
what I feel. I
So
don't know if
at,
that's right or wrong.
so at what point does that happen?
That you become mature?
That it suddenly clicks that I need to get a grip.
I don't know, maybe when everyone else is marrying around
gonna
them.
say-
When everybody, and you're the only one there.
Yeah, men do that thing where once one person in their group is in a serious relationship or ready to marry, suddenly all of them have a girlfriend. Once one proposes, suddenly all propose.
Just
You
6
don't wanna
months
be the
after 6
last-
months, yeah,
you don't want
everybody.
to be the last one.
Yeah. Give me that.
So that's how it works.
It's usually your immediate circle. But you're a guy, tell me.
I think most of my friends are mature. I just feel like maybe my friendship group is different, so it's just clicked without needing someone to get married first. That's how I would say.
Okay. Let's define maturity in terms of making a relationship work. What are we saying here?
Ooh. Why don't you go first?
I guess maturity. What is it they say? Putting your the childish things away, and having like it's your mindset, isn't it? As to how you would go about problems and solving things. Like you wouldn't react in the way a child would. You wouldn't just cry first. You like problem solve. Yeah, I guess that's one example of maturity.
In a relationship.
Yeah, but you wouldn't cry to your mum.
Yeah. I think just being able to communicate, speak through things clearly. As an adult, essentially. Just
Yeah.
speak things clearly and have an active conversation. I didn't like this. You didn't like this. How are we going to get around it? If it arises again, how can we allow it not to become a problem again in the future? That's how I would say something's mature.
Do we think that how they are raised has something to do with it?
I think you can blame that up until a certain age,
What are we blaming, sorry?
as in how you're raised on your level of maturity up until a certain age. Then you need to unlearn the negative things, and because you can't blame your childhood on your future. You are in control of it. I feel like once you hit like 25, you can't blame how you were raised. You have all the tools to change it. You're just choosing not to. You're leaning on that.
Yeah, I agree. I just feel like maybe the way you're raised or the way your family do things and the way your partner's family do things might be slightly different. So you might need to learn or adjust the way you do things to suit how your partners would do things, and you come to an agreement.
I know women, like you rightly mentioned, that there's a lot of pressure on women to gather the knowledge, acquire the knowledge, do the right thing, take the right step. Are men doing the same thing? Are they reading books? Are they attending seminars, convention, focusing on relationship, or they're just laid back,
Winging
sitting
it.
back and winging it?
It depends on the man, no, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
there's some
are
that
they actually do they read books on relationship? Did men read books on relationship?
I can't speak for all men, but there will be some out there. But
Okay.
I think there'll be some people that read
Yeah.
books.
From your circle, do you? Because really, when a woman reads a book, she's very happy to show her friends.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm reading this book. You should read it too.
Or it's either maybe not a book, or maybe a podcast, or something,
something
they're
like that, yeah.
something they're listening to that
Yeah.
will then you can share with your friends and be like, oh, what do you think about this? Yeah, I think that they do actively try to get opinions and just maybe just have conversations about how they would implement that into their life.
So yeah, actively learning and taking steps to actually change and be better, a better version of themselves. Is that happening in how they?
I think it is. I think it comes in different forms. I think it's a case of your circle helping you. So speaking to your friends and seeing how they do things and just having a good conversation as to, I would do it this way. Why would you not do it that way? And just seeing how different people, because obviously you're not married, so you'll be able to get your viewpoints from your different people, especially if you've got a friendship group where somebody is married, then you can see their viewpoint and how it changes. Because obviously if you're not in a relationship and then you now become married, it could slightly be different, or what they would do differently. You just take on their viewpoints and see if you could implement it to yourself.
Okay. So how do men prepare for marriage?
Ooh. How do they prepare? I think, as I said, the podcast, the books, the friends, the speaking. I think that would be it. I don't really know. You're not a man, so
I was going to say, I can't answer you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, because do men shadow married couples that they know who are within? Do they shadow? Because women tend to do that. They shadow their married friends a lot, ask questions, and just keep an open eye
Yes.
on what's happening and learn.
I think it depends on the person. If we're speaking from a Christian point of view, I think there are, especially in this church, there are men that are older than you that you can shadow, you can ask questions to, which I think helps. Or your friends group, if you're within your friendship group, you've got someone that's married, you can ask them as well. But I think that's probably the best way to do it, is to ask people that are already married. But obviously not everybody's in that situation where they can get people that are already married. So I'm not sure what they do. But the best thing to do is potentially ask people that are already married the do's and the don'ts, what they've learned, what they haven't learned, where they went wrong, how you can improve for your time.
Okay. What about if once you move past the stage of we're talking, move to the dating, courting? Do you think it's appropriate to involve other people in getting guidance and how to go about it?
I would say so, just for a level of accountability, so you can
Just for the accountability.
No, for the accountability, and then also for their opinions as to how you should move forward. If it was similar to what they did, because obviously they would have gone through a different stage. I know we call it all of these different names, but they would have had some form of version.
Some version of
maybe
it.
without the name that we
without
created.
the names, yeah.
So they would have had
correct.
some form. So then they can guide you as to if they went wrong, how they went forward from there. And it's just nice to also share it. If it's a problem, then a problem shared is a problem halved. Then you can share it with somebody. So I know men don't really like to talk like that, but like if you can share it with somebody, they can get it from a different viewpoint as well. So maybe your viewpoint is not the right one.
Okay.
You can see it from a different viewpoint.
Okay. Yeah. So we're right to say really that when we're in a relationship and we see someone that seems to be getting along quite well, that sometimes we might not know the full intricacies of developing that relationship. Do you think it's right to actually find somebody you can ask questions from and what to do, especially if you are beginning to find some knots that need untangled before you actually call it quits? Oh, this is becoming too much hard work. Do you think it's appropriate to seek guidance or advice at that level?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's appropriate because I feel like you could then be throwing away something that has the potential to be something that's beautiful if you're not willing to ask for help. That person that's outside can see what you're not seeing, and then they could guide you in a way that, oh, this is how you can sort the problem out. Whereas you could just, at the first hurdle, throw it away, and then that could be the person for you, and you've just thrown it away for no apparent reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even if that person isn't for you, if you ask for advice, if you were to experience it in the future, you now know, okay, I've experienced this, I've spoken to someone about it, I'm gonna go about it a different way, given the advice I've been given, and it could work in your favor. So advice is always a positive, no matter the timeline. I think earlier the better, if anything.
Ever and ever, in love, in love, in love, in love, in love, in love, in love.